Every day after school, a kind and elegant woman would greet me with a warm smile. She showered me with compliments, telling me how beautiful I was and that I should always value myself. At first, I didn't understand why she constantly repeated those words, but over time, I grew fond of her presence. A month passed, and she continued to show me affection, but then she started buying me gifts, shoes, dresses, and little trinkets that made me feel special. Slowly, I started trusting her more. Sometimes, she would even offer to drive me home, which felt like an act of genuine kindness. This routine continued for another month, until one day, she invited me to her house to meet her daughter. Excited, I agreed, thinking I was finally going to be part of her extended family. As I stepped inside her home, I noticed several girls around my age. I greeted them, but their expressions were unsettling. Their eyes seemed hollow, their smiles forced. Ignoring my discomfort, I sat on the couch as the woman handed me a cup of tea. That was the last thing I remembered before everything went dark. When I regained consciousness, I was lying on the couch with several unfamiliar faces staring down at me. A wave of dizziness clouded my thoughts. I struggled to recall what had happened after drinking the tea, but my mind was blank. I felt a deep sense of unease and quickly told the woman I needed to leave. Surprisingly, she agreed and drove me home. That night, as I was preparing to sleep, my phone buzzed with a new message. When I opened it, my heart stopped. Several pictures of me, unclothed and unconscious, flashed on my screen. My body trembled as reality crashed down on me. Frantically, I called the number from which the message had come. A cold voice on the other end warned me not to speak a word about this to anyone and ordered me to return to the house the next morning. Fear paralyzed me. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't let those pictures be exposed, so with a heavy heart, I went back. When I arrived, I pleaded with her, asking how much she wanted to make this go away. But money wasn't what she was after. She wanted me. She explained that all the girls in that house worked for her, and now, I was one of them. If I refused, my pictures would be made public. I was given one night to decide my fate. I spent the entire night in tears, trapped in a nightmare with no escape. By morning, I knew I had no choice. I surrendered to her demands, hoping that maybe, just maybe, I could find a way out. That day, before being sent into a room with a customer, I begged the woman to reconsider. Her cold, merciless stare sent a shiver down my spine. "Go inside, do what you're supposed to do, and come out," she instructed. Tears streamed down my face as I entered the dimly lit room. I fell to my knees before the man inside and pleaded, "Please don't do this to me. I'm the same age as your daughter. Imagine if she were in my place." He scoffed. "I don't care. You're here now. I paid for you." Desperation consumed me. "I'll give you money, anything, just let me go." But my cries fell on deaf ears. From that day on, I was no longer the same person. I felt hollow, broken beyond repair. The same nightmare repeated night after night. The men who visited were all wealthy. Some had families, some had dark secrets of their own. A few didn't want to touch me at all. They just sat and wept, sharing their pain as if I could heal them. But I was drowning in my own suffering. One night, I confronted the other girls. "You knew what she was going to do to me. Why didn't you warn me?" Their eyes were empty. "We've accepted it. You will too." Their words shattered me. I refused to let this be my fate. Gathering my courage, I turned to the woman and pleaded, "Why did you do this to me? Was money really worth it? Don't you have a family? A daughter?" She sneered. "I did this for 20 years myself. Now it's my turn to retire." One day, a girl in the house discovered she was pregnant. The woman's fury was unlike anything I had ever seen. She dragged the girl into a room, yelling at her. The next morning, the girl was gone. No one knew what happened to her. I knew one thing. This woman was capable of anything. Fear consumed me. I had to escape. One night, I gathered enough courage to run. I fled to another city, throwing away my SIM card to erase all traces of my past. For months, I lived in fear, expecting the worst. But when I returned, I found the house abandoned. My pictures had never surfaced. That place, that nightmare, was gone. I survived. But I will never forget.